I always knew the exact second I decided to tear my family apart. It wasn't when they emptied my college fund, or even when they mocked my demand for a written promise. It was Sarah's smug grin, flashing across her face as she signed the papers. That look screamed, "Fine, little sis. Whatever makes you sleep at night." My name's Emily, and I've spent my whole life as the responsible one. The careful one. The one who was supposed to nod and understand. Understand what? Sarah's special. Sarah's destined for greatness. Sarah needs more support than me. She's going to be the next tech genius, the pride of Portland, Oregon. Mom would beam at neighborhood barbecues, boasting about Sarah's big dreams, while I sat quietly, grinding through calculus homework. Sarah had that magnetic charm. That spark. The kind that felt like a wildfire waiting to burn everything down. I was always the afterthought. The reliable daughter who didn't need attention. Mom and Dad poured their faith into Sarah, their golden child, while I scraped by, planning my future in the shadows. "Emily, you're so practical," Mom would say, like it was a compliment. Practical. That's what they called it when I babysat every weekend to save for college. When I earned scholarships, they barely noticed. When I mapped out my life, dollar by dollar, dream by dream. But Sarah? She was the visionary. The risk-taker. The one they bet everything on, including my future. And that day, when Sarah's pen scratched her name on that paper, something inside me snapped. Not loudly. Not violently. It was a quiet fracture, the kind that hardens into resolve. I wasn't just going to understand anymore. I was going to make them pay. Not with tears or screams, but with the one thing they never expected from me. Patience. Precision. And a plan that would unravel everything they built on my sacrifice. Because sometimes, the most dangerous person isn't the one who shouts. It's the one who's been silent too long. It was a chilly spring evening in Portland, my senior year of high school, when Dad called me into his home office. "Emily, we need to talk. It's important." His voice was serious, but Mom and Sarah were already there, practically buzzing with excitement. Sarah, my older sister, couldn't sit still, her eyes gleaming like she'd just cracked the code to fame. Before Dad could even speak, she blurted, "I've got it. An app for pet owners to share photos and connect. It's gonna be huge." I glanced at their eager faces, then at the folder on Dad's desk. It was labeled Emily's college fund. My stomach dropped. "No," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "That's my money." Mom reached for my hand, her smile too sweet. "Honey, Sarah's got a real shot here. We've talked to investors, and it's just a little seed money." I yanked my hand back. "That's $75,000. I earned those scholarships. I babysat every weekend. I planned my future with that." Dad waved me off, like I was a kid throwing a tantrum. "You could take out a loan, Emily. Or maybe start at community college. It's just 2 years. Sarah chimed in, her tone dripping with fake patience. "The market won't wait, Em. This is bigger than college. This is about changing the world." Something burned inside me, hot and sharp, but my voice stayed steady. "Fine. But I want it in writing." Mom blinked, confused. "What?" I crossed my arms. "A promissory note. The exact amount, plus interest. It's a loan, right? So you won't mind signing it." Sarah laughed, tossing her hair. "Come on, sis. Don't be so dramatic. We're family." I forced a smile, locking eyes with her. "Exactly. So you'll sign." Dad frowned, his patience thinning. "Emily, this isn't necessary." I pulled out my phone, my thumb hovering over Grandma's number. "Either I get a notarized note, or I call Grandma and tell her you're raiding the college fund she helped me build." Grandma, Mom's mother, was a retired accountant in Seattle with a no-nonsense view on money. The threat landed like a brick. Sarah shrugged, smirking. "All right, fine. Whatever makes you happy." But as she spoke, I saw it again. That smug grin. The one that said she'd already won. And right then, I swore I'd wipe it off her face. One day. The next morning, we sat in a sterile bank office in downtown Portland, the air thick with tension. I'd stayed up all night, scouring the internet for promissory note templates, making sure every detail was airtight. No loopholes. No excuses. Sarah signed with a flourish, barely glancing at the paper, her pen scratching out her name like it was a performance. Mom and Dad, as guarantors, signed too, exchanging glances as if humoring a child. The notary's stamp hit the page with a thud, sealing $75,000 plus 7% compound interest per year. My future, reduced to ink and numbers. Sarah patted my shoulder, her voice dripping with mock sweetness. Happy now, Em? I nodded, watching the notary slide the document into a folder. Very. That night, alone in my bedroom, I sat cross-legged on the bed, staring at the notarized note. My hands trembled as I traced the numbers. $75,000. Years of babysitting, scholarships, and late-night study sessions, all for this. Mom appeared in the doorway, making me jump. You should support your sister, she said, her tone sharp. This isn't about duty, Mom. It's my future. She sat beside me, her voice softening, but the words cut deeper. We're not stealing anything, Emily. This is an investment in Sarah's dream. In our family's future. She paused, then added, besides, you're smart and pretty. You could find a good husband in college. You don't need to stress about a career. I folded the note carefully, sliding it into a fireproof lockbox. Thanks for the advice, Mom. From that moment, I became a collector. Not of trinkets or memories, but of evidence. Every conversation, every slight, every time they chose Sarah over me, I wrote it down. I recorded voicemails, saved texts, and filed away emails. My lockbox grew heavier, not just with the promissory note, but with a plan. A quiet vow. They thought I was just the practical sister, the one who'd roll over and take it. But I was learning. Studying their weaknesses. Sharpening my edges. Sarah's smug grin flashed in my mind, and I whispered to the empty room, you'll see. I wasn't just saving paper. I was building a case. One that would make them regret underestimating me. Because family or not, I'd make sure they paid. Not with apologies. Not with promises. But with every cent they owed me. And then some. 6 years. 6 years of watching Sarah torch my $75,000 on one failed scheme after another. Pet photo apps. Crypto for florists. An AI that wrote love poems for dating profiles. Each flop was a headline at family dinners in Portland, spun as Sarah's bold vision. Meanwhile, I was the invisible one, scraping by, my dreams buried under their blind faith in her. I worked 3 jobs to survive. Legal assistant by day, waitressing at a diner on Burnside Street by night, and transcribing audio files online until dawn. Every dollar went to night classes at Portland State's law program or chipping away at student loans. My apartment was a cramped studio, walls bare except for a whiteboard tracking my debt. Sleep was a luxury. So was hope. Family gatherings were a performance. Mom would gush, Sarah's pitching to investors in San Francisco. Dad would nod, proud, while I pushed peas around my plate, counting the times they'd dismissed my achievements. Emily's still at that law office? Mom once asked, like my job was a hobby. It's stable, I'd say, biting back the truth. Stable meant surviving. Stable meant no vacations, no new clothes, just endless shifts and study sessions. Sarah, though, was their star. They'd laugh off her failures, saying, that's just how entrepreneurs learn. But me? I was the boring sister, the one who played it safe. I never stopped collecting. My fireproof lockbox overflowed with evidence. Text messages from Sarah, begging for just a little loan for her latest idea. Voicemails from Mom, scolding me for missing family trips to cheer on Sarah's pitches. Emails from Dad, casually mentioning how Sarah's close to a breakthrough. I recorded it all, every word, every slight, every time they chose her over me. My notebook was a ledger of their betrayal, each entry fueling my resolve. At night, when exhaustion hit, I'd open the lockbox, reread the promissory note, and whisper, not yet. Patience wasn't just a virtue. It was my weapon. My best friend, Lauren, saw the toll it took. You look like a ghost, she'd say, wiping coffee spills off my desk at the law firm. I'd laugh it off. It's the aesthetic I'm going for. But Lauren knew. She'd catch me staring at my notes, my eyes burning with 6 years of anger. You could just walk away, she suggested once. I shook my head. Not until they pay. Sarah's smug grin from that bank office haunted me. The way Mom dismissed my future for a husband I didn't want. The way Dad waved off my dreams like they were pocket change. They thought I'd forgive. But I was building something stronger than their lies. A case. A reckoning. And when the time came, I'd make sure they felt every cent of what they owed me. Sunday dinner at my parents' house in Portland was always a stage for Sarah's dreams. The dining room glowed with candlelight, Mom's best china gleaming as she toasted Sarah's latest venture. "To our entrepreneur," she said, raising her glass. Dad beamed, nodding at Sarah, who soaked it up like a queen. I sat across from her, pushing mashed potatoes around my plate, counting down from 10 to keep my calm. 6 years of their praise for her failures, 6 years of my silence, and tonight, something felt different. Heavier. Sarah cleared her throat, her smile too bright. "I've got news. My new app, it reads dog emotions through their barks. It's a game changer." Mom gasped, already reaching for her purse. "How much do you need, honey?" Sarah's eyes slid to me, sharp and calculating. "Actually, I was thinking Emily could help out. You're doing okay now, right, Em? Surely you've saved something." The room went quiet, forks frozen midair. My pulse pounded, but my voice came out ice cold. "You want me to invest?" "In you." Sarah leaned back, smirking. "We're family, Em. And you're always bragging about your hard work." 6 years of rage surged under my skin, but I kept my face blank. "You never paid back my college fund, $75,000, plus interest." Mom waved a hand, dismissive. "That's old news, Emily. Let it go." Sarah laughed, like it was a joke. "Come on, sis. Don't be so petty." I set my fork down, slow and deliberate. "Petty? You burned through my future, and now you want more." Dad sighed, annoyed. "Emily, enough. We're talking about Sarah's vision here." That was it. The final straw. I stood, grabbing my phone. "Lauren, remember that promissory note I showed you? It's time." Sarah's smirk faltered, just for a second. Mom blinked, confused. "What are you talking about?" I didn't answer. I walked out, my steps steady, my heart racing. In the car, I called Lauren, my best friend and a junior lawyer at a downtown firm. "I'm done waiting," I said. "Let's send the demand letter. Priority mail, signature required." By Monday morning, I dropped the envelope in a mailbox on Hawthorne Boulevard. $75,000, plus 7% compound interest, detailed to the cent. My hands didn't shake. For the first time in years, I felt alive. Sarah thought she'd won 6 years ago with that smug grin. But this was my move. And I was just getting started. The lawsuit hit like a wildfire in Portland's quiet suburbs. By Friday, my phone was a war zone: texts, voicemails, missed calls from Mom, Dad, Sarah. I ignored them all, my hands steady as I walked into Lauren's law office downtown. 6 years of evidence spilled across her desk: the promissory note, bank statements, recorded calls, Sarah's texts begging for cash, emails from Mom dismissing my dreams. Then came the bombshell. Hannah, Sarah's ex, sent a zip file labeled Tax Records 2016 to 2022. I opened it, my jaw tightening. "Lauren, look at this." Sarah hadn't just burned my $75,000 on failed apps. Most went to Vegas casinos, luxury SUVs, designer bags, not business expenses. Her investor reports? Forged. Tax fraud, plain and simple. Lauren's eyes widened. "This isn't just civil, Em. This is criminal." I leaned back, the weight of 6 years lifting slightly. "File it. All of it. And make it public." She hesitated. "This'll destroy them." "You sure?" I thought of Sarah's smirk, Mom's voice saying I'd find a husband, Dad's casual betrayal. "I'm sure." By Monday, the court papers were filed, every detail splashed across Portland's legal blogs. Social media erupted: Mom's book club, Dad's golf buddies, all whispering about the Walsh family scandal. Mom landed in the hospital that night, stress-induced panic attack. Sarah stormed my office, designer heels clicking, her face red. "You're ruining us," she screamed, knocking over my coffee mug. It shattered on the floor. Feeling better? I asked, calm as ice. She pointed, shaking. You're jealous. Always have been. I take risks and you just hide behind your stupid papers. I pulled out the promissory note, sliding it across the desk. Risks? You mean fraud. Get out. Security dragged her away, her shouts echoing down the hall. My phone buzzed. Another voicemail from Mom. A proper lady doesn't sue her family, Emily. What will people think? I deleted it, but her words stung. Then Hannah called. I found more. Sarah's been dodging taxes for years. I sent everything to Lauren. I stared at my desk, the notarized note still pristine. Thanks, Hannah. Lauren called next, her voice urgent. They're moving money offshore. Dad used his work email to set it up. We can prove intent. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Get an injunction. Freeze their assets. That night, I stood outside my apartment, watching the city lights flicker. My phone lit up again. Sarah. Mom's crying. Dad's talking retirement. Happy now. I typed back, you broke this family, not me. Then I muted her. The truth was out, raw and ugly, in every Facebook group and local newsfeed. I'd exposed their lies, their fraud, their betrayal. But as I walked inside, alone, I wondered if justice was supposed to feel this hollow. The fight was on, and I wasn't backing down. Not now. Not ever. The courtroom in Portland's federal building was cold, the air heavy with silence as Lauren laid out our case. Across the table, Mom sat rigid, her Sunday dress crisp but her eyes red. Dad gripped the chair, jaw tight. Sarah, in a designer blazer, tapped her fingers, trying to look bored. I sat still, my hands folded, the promissory notes weighed in my mind. Lauren's voice cut through. Ms. Walsh, can you explain these tax records? She slid documents across, each page a dagger. Sarah's face paled. The records showed my $75,000 spent on Vegas suites, a Porsche, not her apps. Investor reports? Fabricated. Sarah stammered. That's taken out of context. Lauren didn't blink. And these investor statements? They confirm forged documents. Dad's hands shook. Sarah, what did you do? Sarah snapped, her voice cracking. I did what you told me. Take risks. Think big. Who cares where the money comes from? The room froze. Lauren leaned forward. Ms. Walsh, are you admitting to fraud? Sarah's mouth opened, then shut, her bravado gone. I want my lawyer, she whispered. Mom's sob broke the silence, quiet but sharp. I didn't look at her. The judge's gavel fell like thunder. This court rules for the plaintiff, $150,000, including compound interest, due within 30 days. Assets listed stocks, savings, the Lake Oswego cabin are seized. Sarah stared ahead, hollow. Dad held Mom, who leaned into him, broken. I felt nothing. Not victory. Not relief. Just a strange, empty calm. Outside, reporters swarmed, cameras flashing. I pushed past, ignoring their shouts. Lauren touched my arm. You won, Em. I nodded, but the word tasted bitter. That evening, I stood in my childhood bedroom, the Portland house now a ghost of itself. Furniture gone, walls bare, it was being prepped for sale. In the hallway, Sarah appeared, wrinkled clothes replacing her usual polish. Bankruptcy filed today, she said, voice flat. Mom's a mess. Dad's selling his shares. Happy? I pulled a faded drawing from my old desk, 4 stick figures, labeled family. I thought we were happy once. I thought you were the best sister. Her eyes softened, just for a second. I believed in my dreams, Em. I thought I'd make it. I set the drawing down. You believed your dreams mattered more than mine. That's what broke us. A car horn blared outside. Mom and Dad, still picking Sarah up for dinner. Always choosing her. They're waiting, I said. She hesitated. They're your parents too. I shook my head. Not since they taught me daughters don't matter as much as their star. I walked past her, the door clicking shut behind me. Goodbye, Sarah. Outside, the air was sharp, the city lights distant. I'd won. $150,000. Their assets frozen. Their lies exposed. But as I drove away, the house fading in my rearview, I wondered what I'd really gained. Justice? or just ashes of a family long gone. The bar was dim, tucked in Portland's Pearl District, where I met Professor Carter, my old law mentor. Her glasses glinted as she studied me. "Big win, Emily. But you don't look like a victor." I swirled my untouched wine, the courtroom's echo fading. I thought I'd feel more satisfied. Instead, it's empty. She nodded, her voice gentle. Justice heals. Revenge hurts. Often the one chasing it most. I thought of the seized cabin, the sold house, Sarah's bankruptcy. What's the point then? 6 years for this. Carter smiled sadly. What do you really want? I whispered, for them to feel my pain. To know what it's like to lose everything. She leaned back. Do they? I shook my head. They just think I'm cruel. My phone buzzed. Hannah's text, "I'm pregnant." Sarah's the mom, but she's gone. I met Hannah the next day at her small apartment, handing her a gift bag. She pulled out a onesie, future lawyer. Her laugh turned to sobs. Sarah won't answer. Your parents act like this baby doesn't exist. I thought of Cycles, my stolen future, another child's risk. I'm setting up a $50,000 trust fund, I said, sliding papers across. For the baby's education. No one touches it, not Sarah, not my parents, not even you. Hannah stared. Why? I looked at the ultrasound photo on her fridge. Because someone has to stop the pattern. That afternoon, I spoke at Lauren's law firm, facing young women with stories like mine. They told me to use my beauty, not my brain. To trade dreams for a husband, to step aside for my sister's future. The room was silent, eyes reflecting my pain. Every time you let someone steal your worth, you teach them it's okay. Say enough. My phone lit up. Mom's text, Sarah's in jail. Your fault. Happy? I kept speaking. The hardest part isn't fighting. It's living with the aftermath. Later, Lauren offered me a job at the firm, inspired by my case. I hesitated. Family law felt too raw. Then Dad called, his voice hoarse. Found your old report cards. All A's. We never saw your potential. I waited. The trust fund for Hannah's kid, that was kind. I cut in. Not kindness. Necessity. He paused. Can we talk? I thought of the empty house, Sarah in handcuffs, Hannah's child. Not yet, I whispered. Maybe someday. I hung up, turning to Lauren. I'll take the job. That night, in my new Portland apartment, bought with lawsuit money, I signed the trust fund papers. No more ramen, no more loans. On my desk, a photo of me and Hannah at her ultrasound. Professor Carter texted, "You found the difference between revenge and justice." I looked at the papers, the photo, the future I'd protected. Revenge leaves ashes. Justice builds hope. I texted the family chat one last time. I didn't win with money. I won by breaking the cycle. Then I left the chat, poured a glass of wine, and marked Hannah's due date. For the first time, I felt free.